Disclaimer, I'm a law student. Any legal information provided is not legal advice. For that, please hire an attorney. Stream things, COVID. Check mark that. It is 5:27. Vera is coming on at 6. So we have time for another segment before then. So why don't we talk about this thing that was directed at me? Mind you, I haven't had a ton of time to look into what we're about to talk about, right? So what I am going to talk about is based on the knowledge that is available to me on social media. If this turns out to be wrong later, then understand that it's based purely on what is presented to me, but I am only basing my observations and my opinions on what is currently available information, right? So, we're about to talk about something, but this seems to be a pretty good summary from what I've read through. So why don't we take a little peek at this? There's a huge situation going on in the north side right now, and the news is hours behind on it. Cliff notes. 2 black teenage girls went missing on Sunday. No Amber Alert was issued. The police decided they were not endangered and didn't bother looking for them. Last night or early this morning, one of the girls' moms tracked her daughter's phone to a house near 40th and Lloyd. They called the police. They waited for hours, but the police never responded to the call. A group of neighbors showed up at the house to knock on the door and look for the girls. When they did, shots were fired at them from inside. Then the police showed up, arrested the people who were shooting from within the house, but claimed to not see any evidence of the girls there and left the scene. Neighbors entered the empty house and van parked outside to look for girls and found bloody shorts, but no evidence of the teenage girls apparently. House is connected with a known sex predator, and it was suspected that the girls had been lured or grabbed for sex trafficking. Some hours later, unidentified persons set both the van and the house on fire. A search party of neighbors, not the police, found the 2 missing girls and the 2 other missing children around 4 p.m. They were following neighbors' tips from house to house that appeared to be in a straight-up sex trafficking ring. They were doing this while dozens of police officers were on scene doing nothing but harassing and intimidating residents. Police on the scene started using tear gas and rubber bullets. So, yeah. This is something that, fortunately, a couple people on my Twitter, thank you for tipping this off to me, told me about this. This happened in Milwaukee, right? And what we're going to do, there's a couple threads on this talking about this. We're just going to go through it. I'm going to provide commentary where I can, but there is a lot to go over. Yeah, exactly. Like there's a lot to go over. All right. So we're going to jump around. There's going to be some evidence introduced here and there, but I wanted to start with this so that people can get kind of like the overview, and we're going to go from there. This was what was tipped off to me initially. So this Milwaukee sex trafficking house thing seems pretty important. It says at Chinchilla, I think I said it right. Gist, the cops appeared to protect a house with kidnapped children inside and pretended they couldn't find the girls. Citizens went in after the cops left the house and rescued the kids. Then the cops started gassing people for rescuing kidnapped kids. Here's what we just read. And then I guess someone burned the whole house down. More detail and this is the thread that we're going to be reading. People who went inside the cops' child's kidnapping/rape house say they found a room with a bed and floor covered in blood. There's a picture on this. We're going to be seeing it in a little bit, but there's a picture of this, and dear God, is it fucking terrifying. There are a bunch of missing black kids that the cops don't care about. Some were seen this morning at the house being put into a red minivan, and the house has been suspected of being a sex trafficking operation. Cops searched the house and found nothing. Neighborhood gathered. So a reminder, I want people to keep this in their mind. Like, keep this in your mind as we go through this, right? Apparently, the timeline is that there was the shooting, then cops entered the house, searched it, found nothing inside, or they say they found nothing inside, and then pictures that we'll see later will actually came up after the fact, after cops already said that they didn't find anything. Someone inside the house shoots at people. Cops come back, eventually whisk a bunch of people out of the house covered under tarps and shit to hide their identity. Cops intimidate people for a while, then leave. People break into suspected sex trafficking house while cops watch for a bit, then decide to come back, and now we're here. The cops came back and formed a line around the house and brought in an APC. People are showing up from all over town. So there's a live stream on this. Mind you, like I've tried looking at these. There are a couple clipped videos. That I think will be better to look at. But this is here if people want to look at it themselves later on. But this is like 2 hours, right? And you're able to see, again, it's Facebook, so it's hard to load. But you're able to see in it evidence of people showing up from all over town to the sex trafficking.
Pretty good.
We keep meeting like this at these scenes.
Right.
Yeah, so we've been out here all day. It's been kind of crazy to keep up with what's been going on in this news. At first it was a search party looking for these two girls.
Yeah.
Shots fired. We were there for that.
So you were there.
Yeah, we've been here all day. It's been a wild scene. What's your reaction to seeing this crowd out here upset about human trafficking and taking matters into their own hands?
I love it for the most part because basically they've been calling the police about issues in our city for a long time. And the police response time, like say someone breaks in the house and rob you, they might come in 17 hours. The police don't respond accordingly in our community to our issues. So the people force the police to actually respond to something that they were concerned about. And right now we've been realizing with these protests that have been going on the last 26 days that our police don't respond to the things we care about. They respond to the things they care about.
They respond to the things that they care about. I didn't even plan for that to be the segment that we watched, but dear God, does it really sum up the problem with this? Right? Like, It's a legit but well-behaved mob of people going over the site, looking into the trash cans, opening up a van in front of the house, and looking through it. I think this might turn into something. Absolutely surrounded the house and the cops with so many people. Okay, so there were 2 houses involved. One where they were shooting at the crowd gathered, the other house where they moved the kidnapped children, who made a break for it, and all the kids have been recovered. Somehow the second house caught fire along with the vehicle by cops, probably. That's at least the accusation. There's probably, I'm not sure if there's direct evidence for that. I will leave you to the side, right? New stream, again, it's like a 2-hour video. Go and watch it if you want to. It probably is good to worth watch, but we can't cover all of it here, right? But it's here if you want to look at it. They got paperwork and shit from inside the house. Wow, crowd is gathering like 3 times of what I saw at first. Nothing like a huge residential structure fire to bring a community together, right? This, it looks like, all right, so this is just like a look inside the house. It looks like it's put up for sale. But there's a better picture. Specifically, okay, hold on. Before we take a look at it, do people remember what I said earlier about like, remember, timeline. There was the shooting. Police showed up. Police went into the house, say they found nothing. And then the picture we're about to see was discovered later. You ready for this? Nothing to see here, officer. Completely fine. Completely normal. This is fine. No sex dungeon here. No sex dungeon here. No, this is fine. This is dandy. This is... Fam, what can I say but yikes? Oh my god. It's one of those things that makes you like really sad about the state of humanity. So yeah, the police went inside, they saw this, they said absolutely fucking nothing, right? Here's another video from Facebook's video, some stuff that was recovered from the house. Again, I think that there are clips of this later on that are better to watch. Yeah, this is a lot, right? This is a lot. The very, very end of the stream shows the cops sneaking tons of people out who are covered with tarps into the van, and they backed up right into the back of the house. Let's see if we can watch this. Let's see if we're able to watch this. Because this seems extremely important if we're able to watch it, and it's supposedly at the end of the stream. Okay.
Trafficking these fucking kids.
She wasn't older than me, strung the fuck out. I said, you pretty. If I'm gonna be nosy, I'm gonna probably get paid off.
If you watching this shit, man, bring your ass to 40th and North. I need a fucking back door. They gonna try to kill.
Basement or way since I grew.
None of the lies. I don't know.
But ain't no kids reported living in. I saw a post. I showed it earlier in my live where it was a post from 2019 where a woman came over here and pulled her motherfucking daughter out this house, and they had a list of houses that they be hiding runaways in, and all these houses are still standing. I don't get it. Let them. Should have seen this nigga, dog. Remind my live. I probably caught his ass. Yeah, out here getting numbers and shit.
Go back and watch this. I'm not going to scrub through all of it, but yeah, we've heard enough to be able to pretty justifiably, I think, sign off on the validity of this, or at least to the extent that, I think it seems credible. Oh no, all the evidence burned up, except for the documents and the other evidence that people could secure before it was torched. The police left those handwritten documents recording when these children were raped in the house. Two searches, documents in plain view. The earlier post in the thread about the evidence that was taken, look at that for the handwritten notes on the children's names when they were made to have sex, a running tally. Again, go back and watch it. Dude mentioned in one of the recovered documents is a registered sex offender. I don't give a fuck. I'll show his name on stream. Fuck him. And mind you, there's a whole conversation to be had about like rehabilitating people who are prior convicted sex offenders, and there's a lot to be said here, but like, fuck. If you raped kids, my sympathies are very limited, to say the fucking least. And wow, this is terrible. Like, the more and more that we find out about this. Okay, hold on. Let's go ahead and watch this. This is only a minute.
His ass, dog. Bro.
Let's go ahead and watch this. Let's go ahead and watch this.
Got you.
They should just let us whoop his ass, dog.
Bro, I swear, if we rush their ass right now, they can't stop nobody.
Oh, they done pulled the van up to the door so they could sneak a shit out.
Hey, that's
They sneaking shit out. They sneaking shit out, dog.
Put that nigga on display. Put
Show that nigga
motherfucker
face,
on
dog.
display now.
Show that nigga face. My shit got blurry as a motherfucker. Clear up, iPhone.
There it is. There it is.
They sneaking niggas
There
out,
it is.
dog. They sneaking niggas and bitches out. Look at all the motherfuckers coming out of there, dog.
Hey,
Look at all dog.
hey.
Hell no. Hell no. That van don't need to leave.
It's kids coming out in handcuffs. They all in that van. It's kids coming out in handcuffs.
Hey, make way for the camera. Make way for the camera, man.
They snuck these motherfuckers out of here, dog.
I can't breathe.
That was some hoe ass shit. Yeah. Yeah.
More information from our plucky thread shitters. These are the words. All right, hold on. These are the words of a chief who fucked TBH. Who's fucked TBH. We're gonna investigate. Fuck. We're gonna investigate the family, the people who burned down a pedophile's house. Something. The family didn't cooperate enough. Really, guy. Maybe your cop shouldn't make parents of missing kids not want to cooperate. Property owner's member of the clergy who apparently works extensively with kids. Wow, this is really getting better. I'm trying to say plucky people, but this is just demoralizing. There was a van in front of the second house, which the crowd opened and found the bloody shorts viewable on stream, and the bloody bed. The van's owner fled to a neighboring house while police refused to pursue, stating that he got away. Let's go ahead and watch. Trigger warning, I assume. People who have weak constitutions don't watch. This is a lot. This is emotionally tolling for me. We're getting through it. All right. But yeah, if you have a weak constitution, I haven't reviewed this, so just trigger warning.
They still fucking the house up.
Which house is it?
That's the house where the
Which
man
one?
just went in.
Which
there
house?
on
That
the
one?
car. The man that owned the vehicle where the babies got, he's in the house and he won't come out. The young man had already fought them in
This
there.
house right here?
And he ran in there and they housing him in there
On
and they won't let him out.
2152?
The one that owned the van.
Which house?
Right here, 2152. He in there and he won't get out. They keep lying and saying that he ran out the back door, but I was back there. He did it.
Okay. Nice work. They come away. Thanks for splicing this up. Cameraman demonstrates that the police do not seem to be doing anything but standing still in rows. All right, let's watch this. This is 43 seconds.
I'm gonna get y'all to probably not. You know what I'm saying? You can literally go behind him.
They start running.
I'm saying they're not blocking anything. They're trying to get y'all to agitate them so they can get it cracking. You got women and kids.
Doing a lot, right? Doing a lot to really help these, kidnapped, sex trafficked kids. Really taking this seriously.
Out here.
Move the women and kids back.
Right.
You're not willing to
Okay,
get hurt
so all they're trying to do is make y'all agitate them so they can use them billy clubs. They're not protecting shit. But look, bro, let me show you. No. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Look, let me show you something. Look. Watch this, look. Watch. See what I'm saying? What are they blocking, bro? What are they blocking? What are they blocking? There's no reason to yell at them. What are they blocking? What are they blocking? What are they blocking? Go around them. What are they blocking? They're blocking. Probably not.
This seems to be another synopsis, so this might be worth taking a look at real quick. Absolutely unbelievable story today from the Milwaukee protest that put in perspective what a self-policing community might be. That's an interesting perspective, actually. Today, Milwaukee protesters rescued some girls from a known sex trafficking house that police had refused to intervene in. The news story loves bearing trafficking stories. I was in this neighborhood today listening to many of these neighbors say how they've been endlessly calling the cops on this house, and about 5 others believed to be involved with it, for trafficking people, and nothing has come of it. Let me move my camera. Today, the neighborhood came together along with protesters searching for 2 girls inside this home. They set it ablaze after finding a pair of bloody shorts inside the van and the bed in the back of it. People have been reporting this home since before October. Okay, so this is an account which conflicts with the earlier one that, police may have set it on fire. Police have been reporting this home since before October. Once protesters reached the second house, allegedly involved a few houses down with these people, the 2 girls that were missing were seen running out of the home, and it's reported that they're safe at home now. So it would be really good to be able to hear, from these people what had actually happened, right? Because apparently they're safe, and that's what's most important. The men inside the houses were taken into custody earlier in the days when shots were exchanged with the people outside the house. Police on the scene were intimidating protesters when they should have been going door to door with them. The girls were found today due to the community. Again, I actually think that's a very interesting take from this, right? I think it's incredibly interesting that the way that this has been manifesting is both as a very strong criticism of policing as an institution, but also as sort of the counter argument that actually community policing might be more beneficial and more effective. It's a very interesting take from this. Why the fuck don't the police who are supposed to protect us take these things seriously? Why did it take citizen intervention to get a police presence here? The police were called, 10 hours went by, and nobody showed up. Why are we continuously failed by a system that is supposed to protect us? Why can't that many people show up to the endless calls about child trafficking? And this is the house, the van, yeah. Boop. Get back there. I like my corner. This is my corner. It's my stream. I can be where I want. There's a huge situation going on the north side right now. Damn it, I have to move my camera back again. I'm sorry. I'll just stay over here for a bit. You know I like being on the left side corner. A huge situation. Oh wait, this is the Cliff's Notes. We already read that. Apparently now you can see their name. All right, whatever. All right, hold on. We have a news story. 3-shot house set on fire at scene of investigation into missing Milwaukee girls. What started Tuesday as a missing persons investigation morphed over the course of several hours as tensions about police treatment ran high and rumors spread online. By nightfall, 3 people, including 2 14-year-olds, had been shot, a house set on fire, and police had fired tear gas and pepper spray on some members of a scattered crowd of hundreds who gathered outside a Milwaukee house where police earlier conducted an investigation into the 2 missing teenage girls. Both girls, ages 13 and 15, had been located as of the Wednesday morning, police said. TV stations reported that the girls had been last seen Sunday evening. Police are also investigating whether the girls may have been victims of sex trafficking, police spokeswoman Sergeant Sharonda Grant said. That's something we're looking into, she said. So that's under review. However, I cannot confirm that is the case. The 2 girls had not been considered critical missing and did not meet the criteria for an Amber Alert, Grant said. Can we just consider that for a second? The fact that apparently the girls, despite being missing and despite like all of these people reporting them missing, like an overwhelming number of people reporting them missing, that they hadn't been considered critical missing and didn't meet the criteria for an Amber Alert? What the hell are the criteria for an Amber Alert? I have to know. I'm sorry. I work in the legal field, but I don't know this off the top of my head. And I'm definitely going to be looking into this after. But dear God. Let's go on. Film from the helicopter. It'll probably be able to show the house burning. Archived copy of the removed Coldwell Banker page showing the interior of the house. So you can look at that to see the interior of the house. Lots of infighting. Yeah. Okay. So I think that we've seen enough evidence. Because here's the take from it. All right? Here's the hot take. What happened was awful. Fortunately, the girls were found and everyone was safe, right? And that's amazing. It's good that we were able to get it's great that we were able to get there. Because that is the most important thing at the end of the day, is the fact that the girls were found and they were safe and everything is good. Or at least everything in their lives. But this does touch on a lot of different issues, right? There's the obvious issue of race, 2 girls of color. There's obviously there's going to be a lot of discussion about how much of a factor that played into the outcome of what happened here. There's lots of conversation about the inability of police to be able to meet the very basic requirement of being able to actually serve its primary function of protecting the community that it serves, right? That is the idealized purpose of the police, right? Is to protect the communities that it serves. And mind you, I know that there are going to be a lot of people who be like, oh, well, most other police stations or like people who are pro-police are going to respond by saying, this is just like one, a bad apple, right? Like these are, this is an outlier. Most police places are good and all that. Like that's going to be the counter response, is that like these people are terrible, but policing as an institution is not terrible. So I want to talk about that for a second, right? I think that we are at a point in society where a lot of people are realizing the problems with policing as an institution. I'm not going to say too much about it. I think that there's a lot that can be said that people already sort of understand from the Black Lives Matter movement, from protesting, from instances of police violence and brutality, right? Like a lot of people are on the same page, I think, at this point. I think that people are at least in agreement that something about policing has to be done. But the thing that's nice about this, and I say nice with a very, considering all the terrible that came from it, what was very refreshing was to see the overwhelming community response to this, right? To see like how much the community was able to gather together to help the people in its own community, right? Mind you, we do want to be careful as we're going throughout this conversation. We don't want to end up in instances of mob mentality, right? If we go back in time, you know, a good decent ways, right? Like a lot of communities were sort of enforced in a similar manner, and that let things like racism spread because that was something that was large, like, you know, they were bigoted beliefs that were held by large amounts of the community, right? So we do want to be careful. But this is a really good instance of a community looking out for its own and being able to self-police effectively and actually resolve the problem where police either could not or would not. And so, the reason this is so important is because as we go throughout this conversation nationally, and indeed throughout much of the world, a lot of people will usually criticize the idea of community self-policing by saying it's not practical, there are no examples of it working, it's just not something that's feasible, we need police. But this is an example to show us that that's not the case. This shows us that at minimum, at the bare minimum, self-policing can work. And that's something that we got you on. What happened was absolutely terrible. It's great that the girls were found and that they are safe. And we have to make sure that this doesn't happen again. If the police are not going to be the ones to actually resolve these issues, we at least know there is some other option available to us. And I think that, at least for me, makes me feel a lot better about the prospects of the world.